The Epstein files just proved Michael Parenti right and exposed Noam Chomsky's biggest blind spot. So, when it comes to the careers of Michael Parenti and Noam Chomsky, there is a strong intellectual divide, and always has been, between the two of them. So Noam Chomsky focused almost solely on structural sort of issues, never at the intentions or actions even of individual agents. Michael Parenti, on the other hand, came along and said, no, this is the wrong approach. This is the wrong way to go about it. And this is what he argued. It was a very simple thesis. What he argued is, yes, everything is structural, it is systemic. That is the way things are. It is the result of exactly the way that Marx said, right? The mode of production, or to draw on Charles Baird, the economic relationships rippling outwards and affecting all other relationships. That is what Michael Parenti endorsed, and he said this is true. But within that framework, so there is no Illuminati, let alone reptilians, okay, throw that out. But within that framework, people act intentionally. Workers act intentionally when they start a union, for example. This was what Michael Parenti talked about. Well, if workers are going to act intentionally by starting a union, let's say a faction of the IWW, then why aren't elites going to do the same thing? Given that they have greater resources at their disposal, what is this going to look like? This is going to look like a conspiracy. It's essentially what Michael Parenti argued, is that not only are conspiracies possible, but he actually went further. They are inevitable. That conspiracy is baked into the system itself. That in order for the system itself of capitalism to function, there has to be conspiracies. Now, Noam Chomsky, who turns out to have been a friend of perhaps the, I guess you could say, biggest sort of ringmaster, a good friend of the ringmaster, of the biggest conspiracy of perhaps our lifetime, or anyone that I know at least, in their lifetime, was blind to this. So he dismissed, for example, the JFK assassination conspiracy theories, and he dismissed all of it, right? And Noam Chomsky was very skeptical of all of these different conspiracy theories, whereas Michael Parenti came on the scene, and he said, let's look at these. If there is profit, if there is motive, if there is power at work, then we ought to look at it. And it is plausible, and not only that, but inevitable, that such things will occur within the current system of global capitalism. That is what he argued. Now, when you understand this thesis that Michael Parenti put forth, that being both conspiracy and class power, in fact, that's one of his lectures that he gives, is conspiracy and class power, then you realize, yes, conspiracies are abundant. They're everywhere. One of the funny things that he said, Parenti, was that he was asked, what, do they meet in secret hotel rooms in order to discuss their illicit activities? And Parenti responded, no, they do it while skydiving. So there's, humor in what he says. Of course they do it in secret hotel rooms. Where the hell else are they going to do it? And so, this sort of, he sort of bit back at those that would mock the so-called conspiracy theorists. And in reality, he was a realist when it came to this issue. Now, of course, that doesn't mean we have to believe in, for example, David Icke and his reptilian nonsense. Okay, we don't have to sort of accept that. But nonetheless, what it does mean is, given the framework that Parenti sort of gave us, there are many conspiracies that are plausible when you understand the capitalist mode of production. And so I would like to list perhaps a few. Number one, the conspiracy theory about the Titanic. Now, I know people are going to be like, blah, blah, blah. If you think about it, in the absence of clear evidence, one way or the other, it is a highly plausible hypothesis to put forward. And again, under the capitalist sort of framework, we would actually expect to see such things. Some other sort of conspiracy theories that I would advise people look into, for example, Pearl Harbor foreknowledge. The idea that the US had foreknowledge of Pearl Harbor. Again, this might sound crazy, but look into it and ask yourself, would they do this? Another would be perhaps 9/11 foreknowledge. Think about it. It's worth having a look into. The JFK assassination, the Robert Kennedy assassination, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, two highly suspicious deaths that have gone unsolved officially to this day. We have CIA drug trafficking, the mysterious death of Gary Webb, who unalived himself. He self-deleted, and yet he was shot twice. How the hell does that happen? The Clinton body count. Think about it. 120 people associated with the Clintons have mysteriously unalived in a wide variety of ways. It's almost sinister. The other theories about, for example, the Franklin cover-up, which I will not sort of get into here for obvious censorship reasons, but is worth looking into. Now, yes, the Satanic Panic was a real thing. The Satanic Panic was the result of a sociological sort of phenomena of churches, rampant feminism, and so on and so forth. There is no doubt about that. But the most parsimonious explanation for the Franklin cover-up is that something happened. Something resembling the allegations that were made. We have many other examples. We have, for example, secret weapons programs. That has actually been proven. The CIA drug trafficking, again, more or less proven. The evidence is kind of there. We have Mossad. Many things associated with Mossad. Again, very shady, very secretive organization. We have the bizarre sort of circumstances around the election of Donald Trump. We have allegations regarding George Bush the first, not George Bush the second, the one who lied about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, but his father. He was also a president, I might add. We have the bizarre rituals of Bohemian Grove. We have Freemasonry. Now, Freemasons, for the most part, are wonderful people, lovely people who give to charity and so on and so forth. But that's not to say that in the upper echelons of the society, at least for certain lodges, since apparently lodges are more or less independent, I'm kind of skeptical of that if I'm honest with you, but that's what they claim, that there isn't something there. And there's certainly a lot of smoke. You need to think about it. Peak oil. Coca-Cola. These are things worth looking into because, again, they happen within a capitalist dynamic and involve profit. The mysterious death of Princess Diana. Think about it. It might sound loony. And again, many of the individuals that have sort of spent a lot of time researching this type of stuff haven't exactly done the community any favors. I need not name names, do I? But the reality is these things are worth looking into. Another highly suspicious thing that is worth looking into, I'm not saying is true, is the moon landing. Think about it. They would have every motivation to fake it. I'm not saying they did. I'm saying that it's worth looking into. And so Michael Parenti listed a bunch of conspiracy theories that he felt were worth looking into, that deserved the public's attention, even if they had been dismissed by academics and scholars. And I think it is safe to say that with the Epstein files, and quite frankly, the scar-inducing, ash-choking sort of images that we are seeing, the disturbing images that we are seeing related to this, not to mention the bizarre pyramid and so on and so forth on his island, his private island, we're starting to see that perhaps there is something behind the curtain, that the talk of sort of satanic secret societies and so on and so forth, while definitely not as sensational as some people made them out to be, is not so crazy after all. And in that sense, Matua Michael Parenti has been vindicated. He was relegated as some sort of rogue academic for a long time. And the tragedy is that it is only upon his deathbed that he receives the flowers that he ought to have received. And in doing so, Noam Chomsky has fallen harder, I would say, than any modern figure has fallen in all of modern history.